Hey, welcome to Super Social Club. I'm Jeremy. Today, I got the entire Blantons core range. You might expect which one I like the most, but you might be surprised about how I score the other three when I nose them, taste them, and give them a mark. Alright, Blantons, made by Buffalo Trace. These are all single barrels, matured in warehouse H. They're all kind of situated in different locations in that warehouse. Here's the stats on that. All bottled at different ABVs. We're going to start right here with the original, bottled at 46.5%. Instead of going through all my tasting notes for each one, I'm just going to post them here and kind of talk about maybe some of the similarities, some of the differences as we go through the line. Alright, so the original on the nose. You get typical bourbon profile notes here. Vanilla, caramel, brown sugar, a little bit of oakiness. And like a really nice like citrus orange note on the nose on this one that really kind of makes it stand out. Let's go palate. Again, most of the stuff you get on the nose, you get again on the palate. Brown sugar, like nice rich brown sugar on this one. You get a little bit of spiciness here. And then in the finish, that spiciness turns to like a clove, like a big kind of clove note on it. Length of the finish, I'd say it's almost like a medium length. Not as long as you might expect. And kind of thin on the palate, I think. Really nice bourbon, but it does kind of just like abruptly kind of stop on the finish. Kind of thins out. You don't getting like the richness that you maybe pick up on the nose. It doesn't translate on that finish quite as much as I would like. But this is a really nice staple bourbon. Really nice entry-level stuff. Score-wise for me, I'm going to give it 84 out of 100. For value, this one comes in at $70 Canadian here in Ontario. I think that's a decent price. It's pretty competitively priced compared to other parts in the world. I think in the US it's around $55, $60. With the conversion, that's about the same. I would definitely pay that for this bottle, so I'm going to leave the value at 0, which means I think the price is justified. So 84 out of 100 for this one. All right, moving on to the Special Reserve. This one is bottled at 40% ABV on the nose. So again, you get those typical bourbon notes, but on this one, a little more sweetness, I'd say. Really nice butterscotch kind of note to this on the nose. Yeah, really, really good. Let's go palate. Really nice on the palate, really nice on the finish. I get like a really good like candy apple sweetness to it on the palate. Almost like that like hard candy coating on an apple. That's really, really nice. Finish on this one, definitely longer than the original. I'd say medium to long in length. Big like corn note on this one. Definitely pick up more of that corn kind of sweetness. Maybe not as complex as the original, but this one I think has a better finish, and it's not like thinning out like I got with the original. Nice, bold finish that kind of like carries you through. Score-wise for me on this one, I think where the complexity lacks, it kind of makes up for it on the finish. Evening those things out, I'm going to score it the exact same. I think that where one is better in one area, it's not quite as good as the other. Balances out. I'm going to give it 84 again out of 100 for this. And for value, almost the same price, $65, just $5 less here in Ontario for this one. So I'm going to leave the value as being justified at 0, 84 of 100 on this. All right, moving along to the Gold Edition. This one's bottled at 51.5% ABV on the nose. So again, mostly what you'd expect. But you almost get like a nice, like buttery kind of toast note to this one. I get butter, and then that toast note is probably like that oak, kind of like more of like a subtle kind of oakiness to this. Yeah, I'd say that this one, nice rounded oak notes, probably more enjoyable as far as the oak's concerned than the previous two. Let's go palate. So lots of heat on the palate on this one. You get cinnamon hearts to the max, really, really hot. Kind of in behind that, you get a little bit of like fruit notes that I kind of really enjoy. You kind of got to fight to get to them, but there's like pomegranate in there, maybe a little bit of cranberry. But that finish, it's long, it's hot, it's almost like unnecessarily hot. We really kind of get this like, almost like this spicy like Tabasco kind of note on the finish that I don't really enjoy. It's too much. It's too much. It just kind of blows away all those subtle nuances that you try to get out of that. I've had this with water. Water doesn't really help it. It kind of just increases that Tabasco note and decreases the fruit notes for me. This one, I think it's the most overrated of all four, in my opinion. I've obviously gone through this bottle. I've had this one for a while, and it just hasn't been there. It hasn't been what you expect for like a gold edition Blantons. I'm going to score this one 83 out of 100, and for value, $102 Canadian here at the LCBO when you can find it. It usually comes in once or twice a year. I'm going to take off a point. I just think for the extra $30 you're paying, I'm not enjoying it as much as maybe these two. So 82 out of 100 for this one. Let's move on to the straight from the barrel. All right, this one coming in at 63.65% ABV on the nose. Yeah, so completely different profile than the previous three. Much more rich, bold, kind of smack you in the nose kind of flavors to this. I mean, the baked goods you get in this are so good. You get spice. You get all these like kind of cake notes, like carrot cake. You get like icing sugar. There's like some sweetness in there. I'm picking up more rye notes than the previous three. Really nice rye spice on the nose here. Yeah, really, really good. I reviewed this one before. You can check out my review here. So this will be like a little bit of a re-review. And I also did this one with Whiskey and a Six on a live show. We did all the Buffalo Trace barrel proof products, all blind. This one came in third, just behind the William and LaRue Weller and the George T. Stagg. So tough competition, but it beat out the E.H. Taylor barrel proof and the Stagg Junior. Yeah, really, really nice. Let's go palate. Really, really nice whiskey. All these nice fruit cakes, carrot cake. You get these kind of like loaves. I mean, it's just all the baked goods, the spices. I mean, it's really spicy. All different stuff coming in there. I mean, the complexity, the finish. It's warming. It's very warming. I think I described it as hot before. That was before this bottle is mellowed since I last tried it for sure. Sorry, when I first reviewed it. But now it's just flavors and flavors and flavors, and it's what you want in a bourbon, in my opinion. Leaps and bounds ahead of the previous three, for sure. I think my original review of this, I scored it 88. I'm going to bump that up to 89. I think that this one is definitely deserving of an 89, especially when I did it blind and it kind of beat out those other two whiskeys and kind of just became behind those BTACs. I think it really kind of held its own in that. So 89 of 100. For value, this one, when you can get it in the UK, it's a great price, €65. That turns out to about just under $100 Canadian. So I mean, just a little bit less money than the gold, and you're getting just so much more whiskey. I'm going to bump it up 2 points, 91 out of 100 on this one. Great, great stuff. Let's just take a second, compare all four together. Here are the scores. Here are the scores with the value-added points. The Blanton straight from the barrel is just in a different league, I think, than the rest of them for sure. You know, that high ABV, it's giving you so much flavor, so much complexity. Now, as far as these three are concerned, I really just did like the original, you know, pretty much the same as the other two. And the nose on this is great. The finish just thinned out for me just a little bit. That's really the only negative I kind of had from this one. And where you get some different elements with these two, where they are really nice, you know, nice sweetness on the Special Reserve, really nice fruit notes when you can kind of dig them out on the Gold. But they also kind of had their negative aspects as well. You know, the Gold was just unnecessarily hot in the finish. It didn't like the finish whatsoever. The Special Reserve, you know, not as complex maybe as the other ones. You couldn't maybe like pick out a few things. You know, ball at 40% ABV, that's kind of hurting it a little bit in my opinion. So as far as like availability for these, you're going to be able to find the original most places, most times. The Special Reserve and the Gold, they both come to Ontario. The Special Reserve you can kind of find on the shelf here and there if you're looking for it. The Gold comes once or twice a year. It goes super fast. You gotta be on top of that one. Unfortunately, straight from the barrel, only available outside of North America, international markets. I think maybe like travel retail perhaps, but the UK. This bottle came from Spain, but just really unfortunate that it's not available in North America. And even in the United States, these two are not available. I mean, I don't know how that makes sense. We do get them in Canada. But I think for availability, price, I would just not worry yourself about these, especially the secondary market. Let's just talk about secondary market and availability for a second here. Secondary on this, you're looking at around 150 US dollars on the US secondary. This one goes for about 190. The straight from the barrel is up to about 230 now. I remember when I first did this and I was looking at secondary prices, I said 170, 180, I think, at my first review. That was about like less than 6 months ago. And since then it's jumped up another 50 bucks a bottle. Is it worth it on the secondary market? I don't know. For 200, almost 230 US dollars, you can get some really nice stuff. I mean, if you're a Blantons fan and you have to have it, maybe you justify that price, but I mean, I don't think so. For 170 back, 6 months ago, maybe that was a better deal. I mean, just so expensive on the secondary market. Definitely would not recommend these on the secondary whatsoever. But again, these are all single barrels. They're all going to be a little bit different. I've definitely had a Special Reserve before that I thought was amazing. This one, maybe not so much. The original's kind of been consistent for the most part in my experience. I've only ever tried the one straight from the barrel, but I do really like this one for sure. So there you have it. Let me know what you guys think. What is your favorite blends? Have you tried the entire lineup? What are your thoughts on just the original? Is it one of those kind of staples in your bar? And let me know in your area where these kind of fall. I mean, if you're in the UK, I don't know if you can get these ones in the UK. I'm not 100% sure. I know some different labels in different areas of the world. But let me know your thoughts. Blends. Leave me a comment down below. Like, subscribe. Really appreciate it. Thank you as always. Cheers.